Welcome, everyone, to episode 137 of Rangers Ed, presented by Lucarelli Law. If you're in Florida and need a lawyer, call Lucarelli Law. Tell them the boys at Rangers Ed sent you. This is your host, Cousin Ed, with my co-hosts, Little Ed and Coach Ed. A big weekend for the Eds with Stony Brook. We'll get into that in a minute. What else is up, though, guys?
Not much else in that. Trying to gather up some time to get a little nap in here and there. It's been a little crazy.
Coach Ed needs his naps. We know that. I do too. I'm a big napper, so I'm with you on that, Coach. But yeah, big episode. Obviously, we had the Four Nations final. We had your Stony Brook finals. We got some Rangers hockey to talk about. So a lot to cover here. And we also got Jonny Laz joining the show shortly. Again, thank you to him for that. So he'll be with us, talk a little Four Nations and a little bit of trade deadline preview, and we'll see where that goes. But before we do, let's jump right into the jersey profiles, sponsored by the Blue Line Blue Shirts. So Blue Line Blue Shirts, check them out at the Blue Line Blue Shirts on Instagram. Number 37, Jan Hlavic. 3 seasons with the Rangers, 218 games, 52 goals, 80 assists, 132 points. He had 13 power play goals in those 3 years. He was part of that Czech line with Radek Dvorak and Peter Nedved. I took a look at how the Rangers got him and what they traded him for, just to remind myself. And pretty crazy. He was part of a deal with the Rangers in Calgary that netted the Rangers a first-round pick, Jamie Lundmark. I'm sure a lot of fans remember him. That sent Mark Savard to Calgary. And he played a couple years with the team and then was dealt to Philly with Kim Janssen, Pavel Brendel, and a pick for Eric Lindros. So little interesting little Ranger career there for Jan Hlavic. You guys remember him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Coach is like, yeah, I remember him.
My little fun fact is actually courtesy of our buddy Mike that sends us the card videos that you guys see on your screen right now. Hlavic was actually number 27 his rookie year and his first stint with the Rangers, but then his second stint was when Kovalev was on the team, I guess, so he couldn't wear 27.
That is interesting. That is interesting. You know, he was a second-round pick of the Islanders too, which I thought it was interesting too. He never played with them, right? So ended up a Ranger through a couple of transactions and found a home. So he had a pretty good year. He had 28 goals, 60-plus points one season, but that was pretty much the highlight of his career was that season. He never really sustained that level of production. Either way, number 37, Jan Hlavic. Check him out at the Blue Line Blue Shirts. Check out the Rangers memorabilia, his Ranger room, Ranger jerseys. It does a great job. All right, so where are we? Well, prior to the last episode, it was 27, 24, and 4 record. Since then, only 3 games. We had the Four Nations tournament, so 2-1-0. They sit 29, 25, and 4, 62 points, 5th in the Metro, 19th in the NHL. That's where we stand, boys. So couple of games here over the weekend. Rangers blown out by Buffalo 8-2, just a horrific showing. Then a 5-3 win against Pittsburgh, pretty much undeserved, and then a 5-1 win against the Islanders. But before we talk about these games, let's just jump right into Coach's Corner, sponsored by Bella Italia. Play the commercial.
Hey everybody, Coach Ed here. I'm over here in the shop at Bella Italia, Marble, Granite, and Quartz, picking up my order for a nice little bathroom I'm doing. I've been a contractor almost as long as I'm a hockey coach. So listen to me when I tell you, when you want the quality work and craftsmanship, come and see the boys over at Bella. They serve all 5 boroughs, Westchester, Long Island, all the way out to Montauk. Whether you're a Ranger fan, Islander fan, Devils fan, they're going to take care of you no matter what. Make sure you give them a call, 516-561-1018. Let's go, Rangers.
Okay. I love it. Coach, Unbelievable. All right, Coach. So you lead us off here. I know Little Ed is also a coach, but this is Coach's Corner. So what was it like to win that? Well, first of all, what was the championship you won? What division? And just explain the whole experience.
It was the AAU Division III. I believe it's the Empire Silver Division.
Yes, correct.
We came in third place this year. Like I think we talked about during the season, we had a little bit of a rough start. But for the last, I'm going to say about the last 12 games of the season, we really turned it on. The boys came around. A couple of injuries back and new player. And came together as a group, and they've been just gelling, and it was a lot of fun. Made a lot of noise up there, Connecticut. We lost last year in the finals. We came back with a mission, and got a little scary. We won in overtime Friday night against a team that we should have beat handily, but the team played tough. The other team played real tough, and we won in overtime and took care of business Saturday night, 6-2, and then finished off in the finals after going down 2-0 early in the first. We came back and won. What was it? 5-3, 5-2,
5-3 with the empty netter. Yeah,
5-3.
So yeah, I mean, shout out if you're watching on YouTube right now. Shout out to Tyler, our captain, who just hoisted the trophy with everybody, just getting all psyched, getting everyone trying to touch it. I mean, really, everyone had a piece in winning that trophy up and down the lineup. I mean, my defensive core, or our defensive core, whatever, my boys back there really held it down the whole season. I mean, special shout out to Barker, who we thought, did graduate last year, but he decided to come back for the second half of this year to take some graduate classes. So he did a little victory lap here for the second semester and got another taste of the conference championship. And he really anchored the defense and helped us out a ton. So shout out to him for sure. He came a long way as a player and as a person. So yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this team and how hard they worked to get here, and really how hard they worked in these games to win as well. It didn't come easy. Shout out to Fairfield and Rutgers for giving us, and Stevens for giving us tough games the whole weekend.
Yeah,
and of course we fought back down 2-0 against Rutgers. They came out quick in the first period and went up 2-0, but then again, shout out to our boys for coming back and never looking back after that. They really,
you know what? Everybody in practice helping out. Everybody down the line. It's all part of being a team. A lot of guys didn't get a lot of action in the third. They're cheering each other on. That's the fucking way to do it. We got one more job to finish, boys. Yeah! So far, they gotta fucking look at us now. Let's do it now. Let's go. Come on, let's do it. What do we got? Where are the hats? Let's go.
Yeah, it was really like, I mean, it comes as when you're a parent, a teacher, a coach. When the kids come around, and the next man up mentality. I mean, we go down. We're playing Fairfield, who beat us twice this year in the regular season. And one of our better defensemen gets thrown out of the game for a marginal major penalty. So now we got to drop, and we have one defenseman that got hurt with a sprained wrist. So we're down to 3. We're down to 4. We had to bring a forward who helped out during the season back to D. Kid played a stellar game, Skyler. And it was just really that next man up mentality. Everybody was skating. It's just great to see. It's a great feeling when you see the success like that of things that you teach all season long. So great experience. Let's go Stony Brook. A couple more weeks, we'll be down in Florida. See if we can finish it off or make a run at it. I'm not making a bold prediction like I did about the playoffs. It's going to be a little tough.
Can we put the last photo up of Coach Ed holding the trophy in the locker room?
Why?
I just have a question, and I just want the photo on the screen while I ask the question.
Okay.
I don't know if you can just put that last one up. How much does that weigh?
It's very light. It's a hollow base.
All right.
It's not
pretty big. It's a pretty big cup.
Yeah, it's not
is
real
pretty
silver.
cool, I'm just making sure it's not like, a 25, 30-pound thing you're just holding up there. I was going to say, damn, coach has been hitting the gym.
No.
No, seriously, congratulations to both of you. And, I was following when I could the games, and Theo also said congratulations, and you guys must be so proud of the players. It's really cool that you guys even coach at that level. I think it's awesome. But just generally, I am very proud of both of you for all the hard work you put into it in your free time. And, it's an accomplishment. Now, hopefully you go to nationals and take care of business there too. But, just wanted to publicly express that I'm proud of both of you. So
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
But all right. Well, when's nationals, by the way? Next month?
March 21st.
Okay. So a couple weeks off and then back to business. You got practices lined up, or are you giving them some time off?
No, 2 a week. We're right back at it last night. Got practice tomorrow night.
All right,
Digging
cool.
in.
Well, we'll follow along with that, and hopefully we get to do another celebratory episode in the near future.
We technically didn't play the Coach's Corner intro, so we'll make it as a Coach's Corner outro. Are we ready to?
Yeah.
We're getting ready to get out.
All right, boys, bring it in.
Every time you do that, I wait for the dog barking, and I forget that that's the doghouse one. So it's.
I thought you were going to have a Bad Boy 63 video up there, but
Dude, I was cracking up about the Bad Boy 63 thing.
we'll see if Bad Boy 63 makes the road trip down to FLA.
You're gonna drive through all those southern states with that novelty license plate on the back of the truck?
Nah, I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry about it.
You better register it.
I got a good lawyer on the staff, so
We'll figure it out.
it'll be like my cousin. It'll be my cousin Eddie instead of my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, for real. Well. All right. Well, let's get into the games. We had, the Buffalo game 8-2. When was that? Is that Friday?
Friday?
Yeah, it's Friday. So first, let's back it up. Actually, let's start with the Four Nations. Let's just start talking about this. When we bring Jonny Laz on, we'll talk more. But you got Adam Fox in the Four Nations just absolutely crushed on the internet. Rangers fans, NHL fans, podcasts, national coverage, just completely bashing Adam Fox. He started off the tournament on the first pair and the first power play unit. And by the end of the tournament, he was third pair, and I guess on PP2, if I remember. I don't even know if he was on PP2 at the end. And just absolutely crushed. So let's bring Jonny Laz on because I want his opinion on Adam Fox. And I know this was a big topic on his show. And I want Jonny Laz's just perspective on the Four Nations generally. What's up, Jonny? Thanks for joining us, man.
What's up, guys? You hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good.
I'm on the phone. I don't get a lot of nights on the couch, so I couldn't really get up. I was too comfortable to go to the computer. But I owe a congratulations to a couple guys on here. I kind of caught the end of that. What team are you guys coaching?
We coach the AAU Division III Stony Brook Seawolves. It's a university
Yeah, I know
here on
Stony Brook,
Long
of course.
Island.
Yeah. I had a lot of friends who played for that team. Peter Hall.
Well, they
know
have an
him?
ACHA D1 team, so it's
Might be
not
that
that
team.
team.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we actually got a few of the trickle down players this year who helped us out a ton, obviously. So we got a good squad. I mean,
Out of the rinks?
Yeah, we practice out at the rinks. Home games at Syosset, Hofstra. We play at Freeport, all over Long Island, really.
Oh, Freeport,
out in
dude.
Peconic.
Freeport sucks.
That's where I grew up playing, lads. That's where
Dude,
I grew
bubble.
up playing. Don't
When
play
I played-
arrows, bubble.
When I played men's league on Long Island and we had a game in Freeport, I just wouldn't show up. I hate that place.
Oh
Yeah.
man! All right, I
Can't
won't take
see
that one to
anything.
heart.
You can't see anything out there.
Oh
The
no, it's
bubble, man.
terrible. It's
Foggiest
Gotta
rink
go-
ever.
You got to go by instinct, Laz.
Yeah, I guess, right? I just remember as a kid, like, you have a 9 a.m. Sunday game at Freeport, and you're on the bench.
Oh.
You can't even see past the slot in the far
The
zone.
worst. Yep.
Like,
Yep. 100%.
crazy, crazy. But congrats, guys. That's awesome. So you won
Thank
what?
you.
You won states, and now you're going to nationals?
We won the conference championship.
Conference championship. Okay.
We were going to nationals actually either way, but like that the rankings work out or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So the playoffs, whether we won or lost, we were already in nationals.
But it helps that you won. You want to
Well,
win.
of course. I mean,
Yeah,
the boys
you won.
wanted to win for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, more chances of winning the conference championship than winning the national title. So,
And where is
one step at a
nationals?
time. Jacksonville, Florida.
Sick. That'd be cool.
Yeah, should be a good time.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Congrats. That's great.
Thanks, man.
I forgot what the question was.
No. So first off, you
Lash, you look like I feel.
I'm so dead. I didn't go. I didn't go to the
tonight?
game last night. I woke up yesterday feeling like shit. I didn't go. I was like, you know what? I've been on the road for like 2 straight weeks. I'm just gonna watch this one from the TV. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll be back in the Garden on Friday night. Starting Friday night, I'll be in a hockey rink for 6 out of the following 8 nights. It's gonna be a grind.
Oof.
Best job
Yeah,
in the
so-
world, though. No complaints. No complaints.
What was the grind?
Sounds like
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
What was
Huh?
the grind like at the Four Nations for you? I mean, were you there covering the whole thing? And I saw you were participating in the creators event and all that. How was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I wasn't necessarily like covering it. Like I wasn't credentialed, so I wasn't at like any of the media availabilities or in the press box for the games. I got really lucky that the NHL actually invited me to go to play in the creator game, and with that came like a bunch of tickets to games and stuff. So I got to experience the whole thing as a fan, which I haven't done in like 2 years. Which doesn't, I guess, sound like a lot, but you kind of forget what it's like to just go and like cheer, and you're cheering for Team USA, like I don't know. It was so different for me just because it's something I've never experienced ever. I mean, I went to one World Junior game when I was, I think, in 7th grade when it was in Ottawa. I think we went to like USA versus Czech Republic or something. We were playing in like a tournament up in Ottawa, and we got to go. But for most of us, I feel like I speak for a majority of people listening. Like, when have you ever attended a best on best USA game? Like it doesn't come around
That's
often.
crazy.
Yeah, so for me, it was really cool. I didn't get to like interact with a lot of the players during it, so like I don't necessarily know firsthand how they felt. Obviously, I've talked to some guys since, and I've gotten their thoughts post tournament. But when they were in it, I wasn't necessarily getting their thoughts. So like that part sucks because like you want to know what guys are thinking like day of and all that. But like any chance you get to go to the games as a fan, like I feel like you kind of got to take it. So, man, I got to say like that Bell Center atmosphere for the Saturday night game was probably the closest thing I've gotten to a Game 7 Stanley Cup final. And again, like it wasn't even like I can't even say it was like the Stanley Cup final though, because like there's so much anxiety that comes with that. Like even when McDavid scored the first goal, I was like, dude, like that was sick. Like it's not even like you're mad. You're just like happy to witness what you're watching.
Yeah. A lot of players said that was like the biggest game in their career.
Yeah.
The
Foxy got a
final.
lot of heat for that one too. I know we're gonna get into it, but like,
well, Eichel said it. Eichel said it too, and he won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So it's like it wasn't just Fox.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like again, these guys haven't experienced that ever. They've had the World Juniors and whatnot and World Championships, but that stage is probably the biggest stage that they've been on. Unless like even Eichel, who won the Cup, like he probably felt like that was the big. You're in Boston, his hometown, wearing USA colors, going up against the best players in the world on the best team that they're ever going to play against. Like Brad Marchand said, that's the best team I've ever played against. Like little things like that. It goes a long way, and shame on a lot of us for not thinking it would have been what it was, because I was definitely one of them.
There's a few like I mean I know you said like you compare it to Game 7, but I feel like just because all the reasons you just said, it's like even a step above that. Because like because of all the players involved, and then you can either take it a step further. Whereas like I feel like in the years past, the Olympic teams can almost be like all-star teams and stuff. These teams were built to compete. Like they had like actual third and fourth lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they weren't just like all of like the top like 15 best forwards. It was like, no, Coop put together the team, and the managers and everybody put together the team with a purpose. And it showed. And like the game was so entertaining to watch because of that. It wasn't all skill. It wasn't all power plays. It was just like a really, really good, like couple hockey games, like a really good tournament.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's one thing too, where watching it up close, I've never seen a game that fast. And that's where I give the guys like Fox Hughes, Kyle Connor, Travis Konechny, players like that maybe didn't stand out or got looked at as played poorly, a little bit of benefit of the doubt, because the NHL game, even the playoffs, like nothing's as fast as what we just saw. And John Cooper said that the other day too. He was like, I don't know if it was the championship game or the Saturday game. He said like, that's the fastest pace I've ever coached. Like, and I think he used one play as an example. I saw Mike Kelly actually post it. Jacob Slavin like went back to retrieve a puck, and Nathan McKinnon was just like on him within the millisecond. And Slavin's fast. Like, he's a good skater. And speaking to that too, like Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, these guys, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, like these are all the best players in the world. And there were moments of those games where like they were just blending in, where like every game you watch them play, you notice them every shift, and again, like I think it's hard to criticize guys or tarnish guys' careers based on 4 games at the pace that we don't see night in, night out.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta talk about Foxy when you bring that up. It's a good segue. I mean,
Yeah,
I
defended him hard today on my show.
Good. I mean, look, a lot of people critical of Fox. Like you said, maybe the game was a little too fast for him. He's not a physical player in the sense that like a Charlie McAvoy is. People looked at the McAvoy hit on McDavid, or a couple of hits he threw in that first U.S. Canada game, and I guess they don't see Fox doing that, and Fox had a little trouble keeping up with the speed on the penalty kill when he was on the power play. He gets taken off there for Werenski. I mean, so the question, posed is Fox good enough for these best on best games? Number one. And then number two, what does this say about Fox in NHL games? Is he still a top D in the league? Because didn't look like it in the tournament.
Yeah, he is. He is still a top D in the league. And obviously a lot of the ruckus was caused on our show, and Jason Demers said that there are NHL guys that love playing against Fox in the playoffs. And listen, like I totally agree with what JD was saying, but also his premise was that Fox needs help. He can't do it all offensively and defensively because, he does lack a little bit of speed and a little bit of physicality. And that's why he needs help in someone on his left side. But also, like, one thing that I want to really point out, and this might look like it's some sort of excuse, but it's totally not. It's actually more just credit to Adam Fox. You look at every player on Team USA on that roster. I actually don't. I haven't like fact checked this, but I would bet that 99% of them were all first round draft picks. Adam Fox was a 3rd round pick. And the reason why he was a 3rd round pick was because people criticize his skating, people criticize his size, and people criticize his physicality. These are things that we've all known about him for years. I've known Adam since he's 10 years old. This is something that every coach at every level has had their concerns about. He was called a power play specialist basically his entire career before he got to the NHL. Even in college, I think his game grew a lot because Ted Donato did a great job at letting Adam be Adam. And with that, I've talked to Ted Donato about it. He said, like, Adam's going to make 8 great plays and he'll maybe make 3 bad plays, but the 3 bad plays you'll take because of what he's going to do with the 8 great plays. You give him more positive than you are negative. And in the best on best, listen, it's a first for him where you're going up against a third line that has like, Jarvis, Point, and guys who are typically playing first line minutes, and first line you're playing McDavid and Marner and Reinhardt. I forgot what the exact lines were, but in that speed, yeah, he struggled, and there's no excuse for him there. But like I'm not taking anything away from what he's done in the NHL. You know, like like you saw the pace of the past few games. Like he still stands out in that pace, right? Like Jack Hughes, same thing. You know, Jack Hughes had a rough go in the tournament too. Like he was outmanned a little bit because he's not a bigger guy, but I don't think he shied away from the physicality at all. I don't think Adam Fox shied away from it. He got caught a couple times, but I don't think he played scared. You know,
Right.
I also think for the first time in his career, since he really made a name for himself, it was the first time he's been demoted. And I didn't think he was demoted for like any good specific reason. Like I don't think he was playing so poorly in the first game, but Werenski, they wanted to try it out with him. And again, like just knowing that what it does to your mentality, it can rattle you a bit. Going from first power play to being the 6D, like that's not gonna, anyone who gets demoted at any level is gonna feel something mentally, right? So, yeah, it's tough to say like what the result will be for the Olympics with Adam, just because if they're picking the team based on that, it's tough. But his NHL ranking or whatever, I don't think that takes any hit or should take any hit, because everything he's really done to this point of his career has exceeded all expectations of what he was coming in. And listen, he still is 27. He's like in the prime now, and there is room for him to grow still. But this is the best defenseman the Rangers have seen since probably Brian Leach. I don't know. Like you guys are a little older than me, I think. Like, can you name anyone before Adam? Like McDonough was, the guy, but he didn't do everything.
I think he was, in my opinion, he was a little bit more well-rounded than Fox is.
McDonough?
So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying not to get heated. Cousin Ed and our producer PJ behind the scenes have been giving me a lot of shit the last couple of days or whatever. But to me, Adam Fox, I mean, listen, I love Fox, and for some reason I can't love Fox but also criticize him.
You can.
So, well, I know you say I can, but it is what it is. So anyway, I love Adam Fox, but to me, I like as a defenseman, or especially in the playoffs, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, whatever, gold medal of the Four Nations, you clearly need to be a more well-rounded, physical, tough defenseman. I mean, yes, can Adam Fox play in those games? 100%. He's going to stand out. He's going to get his points. But will the Rangers win a Stanley Cup with Adam Fox as their true number one defenseman, as opposed to like maybe a number two, and then they get someone like Shea Theodore or someone that is a little bit more well-rounded and carry the team physically and kind of carry them more into the fight? And the example that I was using the last couple of days is Drew Doughty. And, I know he's a unicorn, but, like shave off, like, say 20 points, but counter that with shutdown D and physicality. I'd much rather a player like that.
Drew Doughty now?
Just like in his prime like that style
Doughty.
of play, that style of player, like that gritty, like carry you into the fight, like, like, or even go back another decade or whatever, is like Duncan Keith is another example I use. Like I said, I love Adam Fox. He's maybe he could get 90 points at some point in his career, but to me, that's not going to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that's fair. Like there's no science to prove otherwise, right? Like the example I would have given was Evan Bouchard, but Evan Bouchard didn't win the cup. He went to Game 7, but he lost.
Yeah.
But that said, too, like with McDonough, if you're comparing the two of them, think about those 2012 to 2014 teams. It was like, holy shit, if we can just score in the power play, we win the Stanley Cup. And here it's like our power play is pretty damn good. Now we got to figure out the 5-on-5. It's kind of like a trade-off, right? Like you can't have everything.
Need the mix.
And the one team that finds it is the team that wins. Like, last year I thought Dallas was going to be the team to win it all. I thought Dallas was the most complete team in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Conference final, couldn't score a power play goal. And that's what killed them. That's what killed them. I think it's one team wins, man. One team wins. Like
I know.
That's what I say. It's so hard. Like I would rather have Adam Fox on my team than not.
That's what you say?
That's what I said.
That's
what I said. Well, I say it's a lot easier to make an argument and say like, oh, the Rangers will never win with Adam Fox as their number 1D and be correct, because only one team wins. So the odds are, in Adam Fox's career, the odds are the Rangers won't win a Stanley Cup. And then you're like, see, I told you, but it's only one team that wins. It's very easy to make a prediction in the negative when it comes to winning the Stanley Cup.
I don't think that's the argument that Eddie's making.
I'm trying to give them the best chances to win.
Look at
he said they can't win a cup with Fox. That's what he said. As the one,
as number one.
Right.
Well, I mean that, the point has been proven so far.
Right. Well,
but are you saying?
Are you
saying the Canucks?
I'm trying to look at.
Can the Canucks not win with Quinn Hughes as number one? Like, is that work? Like,
I don't think so. No, I don't think that's another argument that I was saying is like Quinn Hughes is that other style of player where I just don't think when it really comes down to it, they can get it done. And I'm not saying like Fox is injury prone, but like every year it's the same excuse. Like, oh, Fox is worn down. Well, Fox has to get a little stronger so he doesn't get worn down. You know,
I think the Penguins winning with Letang is like, I guess Letang's probably he's definitely tougher, but
he's a freak.
Letang
plays
the styles are similar.
Like I said, these guys are all unicorns. All these guys are unicorns in their own special way.
Yeah. Letang had a couple.
Before I let Coach Ed, I think we keep cutting Coach Ed off, but before I let him go, like the one thing is like I understand, like in the past, like we could talk about that all the time, but like right now, like after this Four Nations tournament, I think that tournament took at the NHL now to the next level because now all these other players, all these other defensemen are now going to be competing to make that USA team in a year. And like this stretch of into the playoffs, like they're going to be playing their asses off. And then into the playoffs, I really think like that's just going to jumpstart the whole NHL and hockey in general to the next level. And I'm worried that Fox can't take that next step also with like guys like Makar and all these other defensemen that we just watched.
Well, Makar he's in his own class, I think.
I keep saying yes. They're all unicorns. They're all, like I said, but you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like guys like that, yes. I'm not sure if Fox is that guy.
I mean, Laz, you played at a high level. Like Eddie just said, he's been injured. I know he gets the points anyway. But when you have a guy like Drew Doughty going down for a puck and taking a hit, who was hitting him? Somebody hit him like 3 or 4 times. Like
Brady.
Yeah, Brady Tkachuk. I mean, come on. You take that hit. Still in the game.
You think Fox takes that hit and gets up after that?
Yeah. You guys are acting like Foxy never gets touched.
Not like that.
There was Zucker laid him out in one game. I don't know if it was the playoffs or when it was, but I do remember Jason Zucker laying a hammer. I mean, granted, Zucker's not the biggest guy, but there's also a skill to Fox not getting hit like that. Like the guy puts himself in such good position, his head fakes, his patience. Like there's so many times where Adam Fox has the puck on his stick and it looks like he's about to move it, and guys like peel off and he hangs onto it for the extra second or two and then waits for the passing lane to open. Like that's a skill. It takes a lot of skill to not get hit.
I never saw anybody do moves like Fox when he does that.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
I've been watching hockey a long time, and when I see him live, when you see him behind the play a lot, things he does on the ice that you don't really see on TV. It's fun. Look, I'm not taking away from the guy. I love him. His skill, his mind, his hockey IQ.
He's
I
so
think
smart.
Second to none. But I've been saying it for a couple of years. Like Leach was a better physical player, but he had Buka Boom. He had a guy making space for him. He had a guy protecting him in physical situations. And that's what Fox needs. I love Lindgren too, but he's not that guy. I don't think personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I thought it was interesting, Johnny, on your show when Demers was talking about that. That quote got clipped. You know, guys love to play against Fox in the playoffs, but I actually listened to the whole clip, and he said that's what guys told him, and then went on to say how great Fox is and how much he just needs a defensively responsible partner, so he doesn't have to be the focus. He doesn't have to focus so much on defense. So it kind of got taken out of context, I thought.
The whole thing did, yeah. Like I mean, we all knew what he was saying. Like, you know, corner against Adam Fox or like Gustav Forsling. Obviously, it's going to be Adam Fox. You know, like he's not a guy that you fear going into a battle against, but he's a guy that you definitely fear defending on the blue line, or you know, a guy that can break up a play with his stick or can block. Like last night, he had a huge block shot too on the 3-on-2 rush You know, I think
with a skate,
that's
yeah.
like you know, like he's always in good position because he also knows that he lacks speed. He knows his own deficiencies and he puts himself in good spots. Like he's gonna get
Yep.
caught. Like guys make mistakes. It's the NHL. They're playing against the best guys in the world. Like he's not gonna be perfect every night. But when have we really looked at Adam Fox consistently and called him a liability? Like maybe there's been a few games like because of post injury and stuff. And I don't think he's injury prone either. Like even growing up, he's like never really missed time due to injury. I think I saw it the other day. He's only missed like 12 games, I think, in his career due to injury. Like it's not like this guy's hurt all the time.
Yeah.
He plays through it, but he plays beat up
Well,
a
that's
lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Less
but
than
everyone
Plays
does.
through it like last year in the playoffs, the year before that. In the
Everyone
playoffs.
does though.
I
What's he
mean,
supposed to do? Just not
Yeah.
play?
no, absolutely not. I'm just saying, like he's always just like it's always that's the narrative. It's
Yeah.
always the narrative. Like
I also
he got
think
worn
in
down.
Sorry, I also think, and
No,
Johnny, I
you're
want your perspective on this too before we move off Fox. The Rangers have 2 Eastern Conference Finals runs in the last 3 years. I know Makar is like, he's won a cup or whatever, but other than that, I mean, a lot of these guys that are great defensemen that have improved, like Werenski, and you look around the league, they're out of the playoffs or early exits. These short off seasons, it doesn't really give Fox a lot of time to really be like, oh, this
Yeah.
summer I'm going to focus on my skating or I'm going to hit the gym. He's got a short summer 2 of the last 3 years, and he's healing a knee, he's healing a shoulder. What can he really do to improve other than heal up? I mean,
Yeah, I agree. And last year, I'm pretty sure he was it last year or the year before? Like last year, before he got hurt, he was off to a hot start. I'm pretty sure what he finished with like 17 goals last year.
yeah, 17 last year. Yeah.
Yeah, like dude, the guy can score goals. Like this year, listen, the team sucks too this year. Like,
Yeah, they suck. They
like
They suck.
it's so easy to find a punching bag when the team isn't winning games, But to your point, yeah, like the short summers definitely don't help. I mean, hockey, you're so burnt out by the time the regular season ends that once the playoffs end, like, listen, I've never played an 82 game season plus playoffs. Like, you're dead. You don't want to put your skates on. You want to take some time off. You want to relax. Like, it's a long season.
Yeah.
And maybe listen, maybe if they don't make the playoffs this year, it could be a huge positive for next year. Give the guys some
Right.
rest or whatever. And remember, like
Yeah.
they came in last year with that chip on their shoulder of like, Vinny Trocheck said it on day one of training camp. It's a no bullshit mentality.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully the Rangers can make a run here. I mean, they obviously came out the gate terribly after the Four Nations with the game in Buffalo, but 2 wins. They're 2 points out now of both wildcard spots. Anything in your opinion changing on what Chris Drury's doing? Do you think he's going to trade these UFAs like Lindgren and VC and Smith, or is he going to self rent? I don't know. Tell me your thoughts. And now we got 2 injuries on D as well.
Yeah, I mean, even if Fox and Miller weren't hurt, like I still think the Rangers should get rid of Lindgren and VZ and Riley Smith just because are they really going for it this year? I think the whole plan is to build a competitive team for next year. And granted, like I'm sure they want to make the playoffs this year, but are those 3 guys and no disrespect to the 3 of them, but are those the guys getting you over the hump? Like probably not. So even if the Rangers are in a playoff spot, let's say come next Friday, like I'd still expect them to move on from those guys just to try to get something for guys who you're probably going to move on from anyway.
Yeah, and you got to look at too who can replace them, right? I mean, internally they have a ton of wing prospects who are banging on the door, who can step in for like Smith or VC if needed. Othman just got called up; he can move up the lineup. Berard can get recalled, right? And then on D, you got Jones, who's what are they going to do with him? And then Eric Brandstrom's in the minors now; they picked him up, so I don't know. I feel like they might even improve by making those moves in an odd way.
Yeah, give the kids a shot. Nothing wrong with that.
Poor Zach Jones, he's fighting through this whole season, hardly, getting in games and probably thinking, oh, I'm going to get traded. I'll go somewhere. And now they get 2 injuries. They can't trade him.
Yeah.
Well, he might get PP one time. We'll see.
Yeah, I
With
mean,
Fox
listen,
on there.
I think he still loves it here and like wants to be here, but he wants it to obviously work out. So I'm sure he'd be like, he's not rooting for injuries, obviously, but I'm sure he's pumped to have an opportunity to get back in the lineup and prove himself. And listen, this is now a chance for him to showcase himself. Excuse me, showcase himself. For a team to want to be a buyer for him.
Yeah, especially down a stretch run.
I think we found Coach's burner, boxing fan 5555.
Yeah, a lot of positivity over there.
Yeah, better get rid of Keandre Miller. I mean, my first thought when he came out of the game yesterday was, did they trade him? Like I was a little concerned. And then they were like, oh, injury. I was like, oh, okay, well, first time I've been relieved there was an injury.
Because nothing really happened, right? I didn't even see anything. Like
nothing happened. They just nothing, man. Nothing happened. Yeah, so looking at not just the players but the coaches too. Little Ed and I were talking about this at one point. Peter Laviolette. Is he going to finish the year as the coach? Is he going to start the next year as coach? Looks like he's going to finish the year. Do you think he's the coach for this team, or do you think they move on from him?
I think we had the same conversation last time I was on. Pretty sure I'll stick by it. I'm pretty sure I said he'll start the year next year as the head coach, and I think if something goes wrong early on, he's canned. I just don't think they want to pay two coaches at once right now. He has 1 year left on his deal. Again, I'm not in the weeds on the details of that stuff. We have interviewed Ryan Warsofsky's brother, who is actually a coach's agent. So he kind of walked us through, and I'm blanking on his name right now, and I feel bad. Fuck. But he walked us through, how those negotiations work and whatnot. Because, we use Jim Montgomery as an example, who's still getting paid by Boston, but gets hired and signs a 5-year extension with St. Louis, and how that money works, still really confusing. But to answer the question, the owner seems to really love Laviolette, so I don't think he's in a rush to fire him.
Yeah.
What do you think? You're I know you can't say too much, but you're down there. You get any kind of a read on what's going on with the players?
I got nothing. Nothing really from as far as what they feel about Laviolette.
Well, what's the atmosphere amongst when you're down there in press conferences or whatever?
What are the vibes in the locker room as far as?
I mean, there hasn't been one player that's hinted at coaching's a problem. And that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. I think the players, for the most part, and granted, a lot of these answers are, just talking to media, and sometimes it's not necessarily full transparency and whatnot. I hope that guys are mostly honest. But everything has been they need to play harder. And that's true. We know what we're watching, right? A lot of it seems to be effort on the nights that go really bad. But I got to say, too, I think I said it last time also, at some point, you have to look at a coach, too, and say, why can't he get these guys to play hard?
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, but I don't know. The players haven't spoken out about coaching or systems or anything, really.
Well, Coach,
and just to answer IMP, RSV, players definitely hint at it in previous years. Trying to think of a specific example. I mean, I think, I don't know if this is directly at the coach, but Seth Jones' comments last night in Utah were we're the same exact team right now that we were on day one. And that's probably a hint at coaching as well, right? The guys haven't learned anything. They haven't adapted to systems. They haven't grown as a team. And I think that is a shot at coaching, even though they already did fire their coach, I would look at that as a shot at coaching.
It's a tough grind. I mean, it's a grind for players as well. I mean, I'm only coaching freaking 18 games, and you got to come up with ways to motivate players, and it's a long grind over.
We started out slow. I was about to ask you how our team, we started out real slow. It was getting real dark in the beginning of the season, and then there was very poor effort. What happened in that aspect?
I think I did a lot of yelling.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. What does the coach do that maybe Laviolette's not doing? Maybe the players aren't responding to that message.
I mean, they're NHL players. What?
But they're still
trying
players.
to put it on our level.
I'll say to me, we lost that game to Columbia 10-0. I literally wanted to put the skates on in that game. I was so pissed off because there was no compete level. There was no getting pissed off or getting blown out. And I'm like, I was ready to I wanted to be on that ice so bad. I would have got the shit beat out of me, but I just wanted to throw a hit, and nothing was going on. I'm not going to take all the credit. But when we played them a week later, I started thinking when I'm driving my car at work and stuff, and I figured out what we could do to beat them, and we did, and that was kind of the turning point. So yeah, I think a coach needs to figure out, like an NFL coach goes at halftime, and the better coaches figure things out at halftime, how to turn the tides. You know, on the spur of the moment, in the heat of battle. And that, to me, that's a big part of it. I don't know about you, Les. What do you say on that?
Well, I mean, the 10-0 game, if you want a guy to go out there and throw a hit, at what point of the game it's pointless? You know, like.
Well, I just want someone to show a little fight.
Yeah, but that fight at that point of the game is so fake.
Well, Laz, this one.
Yeah, but it went the whole game.
0-0.
That's what pissed me off. It went the whole game with no passion. You know, nothing.
Yeah.
I lost the game 12-0 in college once, and that was the worst experience of my life. And I don't think I threw a hit because I just stopped giving a shit. Once it turned 6-0, I was like, if no one's gonna play, I'm not gonna fucking play either.
Well,
maybe that's why I didn't make it far, but
yeah.
Well, I think that that's human nature, and I think that is a little bit of what maybe happens with the Rangers. I mean, for me, I look at this two ways. Number one, and Laz, you're around the players. I'm not asking you to reveal anything you shouldn't reveal here and break news on this podcast or anything like that.
But you're hinting at it.
No, but I mean, tell me if I'm way off base at least. Like, I think that you get a couple of players with gripes, and maybe there's a lack of effort early in the season, and that kind of bleeds through the roster. You know, when without accountability, you know, there's a lack of accountability for some players, and there's a ton of accountability for others, and that can create dissension. And you know, I just think in looking at a guy like, for example, Kakko, Jones, right? These guys all spoke out to the media. This didn't happen last year under Laviolette. You know,
they were
guys
winning.
Were scratched.
They were winning.
Yeah, they were winning, but they were scratched. Kakko got scratched. You know, Laffy got scratched by Laviolette. Like you don't see these, you know, guys out in the media saying like, "Why am I the one being scratched? I'm not a 31-year-old or whatever the quote was from Jones. You know, I got to play." So to me, that's is something that bleeds through a team. Kind of like you just said, and you're losing 6-0. Like, well, why would I try if no one else is trying? You know, screw it. Like, it's kind of that kind of a vibe, you know?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like, I honestly didn't even realize like that I was saying that, and it's kind of relatable to what's going on here. But yeah, listen, like those quotes. I mean, the Jonesy one specifically, the paycheck one was, you know, it seemed like it was an indirect call out, right? Like, at least that's how that's how a lot of people took it. You know, listen, I've seen some things. I've definitely heard some things about practice habits and whatnot. And, you know, I'm not going to name names, but yeah, there's probably a bit of I don't know, like what the word would be, but maybe the younger guys feel like a lot of the older guys are given things that maybe aren't earned.
Country club atmosphere.
Yeah, like, you know, no one said it directly, but I've definitely caught hints at it.
Yeah.
You know, again, so like I can't like say I've been told that directly, but like
no,
you can feel it.
The fans can all notice it without even saying that. You know, this isn't.
Yeah. And again, like
obvious, but
it's not even about the Rangers. Like I'm around like. So I really I don't get to go to a lot of Ranger practices anymore just because it's so tough with the timing of my show. Like they practice like 11 a.m. in Westchester, and I don't get off my show till like 10:30 in the city, so I can't really get there in time. But I'm at like every road team's morning skates at the Garden, so I see, you know, how those teams operate in their room on the ice, you know, on a game day. And, you know, there are so many rooms where I'm like, wow, like, you know, these guys mess around with each other. These guys are all business. Like the Winnipeg Jets were all business when they were here. Like every pass in morning skate, tape to tape, no one really laughing, like very serious tone. And those guys got embarrassed last year in the playoffs. Like they have a different mentality because of what went down, and that's what, like Nikolai Ehlers told me that too. Like he said, we knew we needed a change of mentality. We didn't need a change in personnel. We just needed guys to buy in more last year. Like that was really it. And you're seeing the success they're having this year. Whereas a team like Florida, like those guys were like work hard, play hard. Like being in their room last year, they had so many goofballs and guys that messed around that just made it such a fun and contagious environment to be in. And then when they went out and played, like they beat the crap out of people, and that was fun, and that brought them together. And they were just a team having a great time. Um,
Yeah.
even a team like Philly last year, like they had guys too, like Scott Lawton and Joel Farabee last year, like two guys that were so loud in that room, making it fun for everybody. And again, like they weren't a great team on paper. They probably overachieved though, just because of that camaraderie. Like little stuff like that goes such a long way. Um,
Didn't the
and
Rangers have a good room last year, though? I feel like it was a good room.
like yes, but I don't know. Like again, like I think it's different. Um, it's hard to judge just because maybe there's a lot of people around the Rangers when I'm there, whereas like on the road, there's like probably like 5 media members instead of like a crowded room. I don't know. Like it's tough to tell, but yeah, the room last year was good, but I still think the camaraderie as one wasn't as strong as other teams.
Yeah, that's a big part of winning.
Yeah,
Gotta have that.
A lot of individuals.
Gotta have that. I mean, I think JT Miller is someone that can really help with that, even though he got criticized for his behavior in the past, and especially with Pedersen, but he seems to be a good fit for what the Rangers need in the room.
That's what I was going to ask before. I think that's obviously why Chris Drury wanted him so bad. It's just maybe for the practice habits and things like that.
Intensity. Someone gives a shit.
Yeah, for sure. PJ came on the screen. I'm assuming you got a question for Les.
I do. How you doing, Les?
What's that, PJ?
My question, well, two questions. One would be kind of on top of this, building on this, the lack of urgency to kind of feel like all year, especially when they kind of got the train back on the tracks in 2025 here. How they came out after that 2-week break was just abysmal. Stunning. Like, how does that keep happening for such a veteran team with no urgency when these games mean so much? Like, we talked about the coaching, but it's just the lack of leadership, would you say?
I don't know if it's like a lack of leadership. I personally didn't watch the Buffalo game just because I was working the UMass game that night, so I didn't get to see it. But my phone was definitely blowing up about how bad it looked. And I just watched like the game recap. I watched the highlights. I didn't go back and watch that game, obviously, because I heard it was miserable. But when a team is slow to start a game, I think a lot of the times you almost just like expect it to be easy. Where last year, I still feel like they felt like they had a lot to prove. And this year coming in, I think maybe they just think they're good enough to coast through and then turn it on at the right moment. Listen, there are games too, and I feel like we've talked about this, or we haven't talked about this team a lot, but like the Lightning have always been a team that doesn't get talked about in the regular season, and they're a group that can just like flip that switch when the time gets right, I guess, right? So, and there have been games this year, like I think they were playing San Jose, and I was like, Tampa looks so disinterested in this game, and it was like back in December, and I think maybe if you have a veteran group that like sees a little bit of success, they feel like they can take some nights off. Like I'm not, again, this is just me.
It's human nature.
But what's the word I'm looking for?
Conserving energy, speculating.
Speculating. I don't know why but thank you. This is me speculating, but dude, 82 games is a lot. Like it's a lot. And I think just the older team, knowing they probably get a little worn down later in the year, feels like they can take their foot off the gas. Like if you're going into a game in Pittsburgh and you look in the standings, not exactly getting so fired up to play that game. Game in Buffalo, like you're probably expecting it to be a little bit easier. Like it is human nature. Like I could talk about playing in the Null, like when I was on a good team in the Null, in North American Hockey League, and we were playing Odessa on like a fucking Friday night. I was like, all right, like this one's gonna be a little bit easier than playing Lone Star, and you know what I mean? Like it is human. But again, like that's me talking about the tier 2 junior hockey league I played in, not the NHL. So there is no easy night in the NHL. There's not. But
Yeah,
again, like I just it's hard for me to say like that there's. I think there's truly like maybe 10 to 15% of the league that goes out there and plays their balls off every night. Everyone
not
else,
easy.
everyone else, you can get away with it. Like
Sidney
every
Crosby, Nate
every team
McKinnon.
has bad habits, though. Yeah, but every team has bad habits. Like
Yeah.
some guys are just good enough to get away with it. I think. I don't know.
I mean, that's why, like Cousin had said before, like these guys are the NHL. Like we're talking about D3 club hockey kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course it's different, but like the mentality, it's all relative. I mean, like our best player compared to Sidney Crosby, like, well, not Sidney Crosby, but like say the best player in the Rangers. You go into a game against Buffalo or a game against the Islanders. Obviously, you're going into it with a much different mentality, and they just simply can't beat Buffalo right now. So they're probably
Yeah.
going into it without any confidence.
Dude,
I
that
think I
Buffalo
remember
game in
that-
the Garden was the worst game I've ever attended in my life.
Yeah,
That's
I was
how
there
it's
too.
on
I was
Saturday.
there as well, and me and my girlfriend
Oh.
left early. I've never left early for a Ranger game, or at least in a very long time.
I've never
I
sat
just-
in Madison Square Garden and prayed to God to leave.
Yeah,
like
it was horrible.
that was the one time I was like, "Get
Terrible.
me out of here."
So
I mean,
that's
listen,
what I mean. It's just like that mentality. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Coach.
yeah, I just think it's hard for a coach. In the NHL, you're looking at a 32-year-old. I'll just use this name as an example, like Artemi Panarin makes like $11.5 million a year. Guy's got 100-point season, multiple 90-point years, blah blah blah. All the accolades. And he's going to motivate this guy. He's going to go to him and get in his face and yell at him. And then what is Panarin going to respond to that? He's going to be like, "Get out of my face. I don't care what you say." It's like, that's not going to work. Like, so I hear what coach is saying. You got to be like creative to motivate these guys, but they got to motivate themselves.
Yeah,
Like, it's the
1,000%.
NHL. Like, you either want to win the cup or you don't. That's it. Like, that's
Yeah.
what it comes down to. So,
Yep.
all right, Johnny, we took up a lot of your time, man. Thank you for joining. We'll have you back again.
Always, boys.
Try and keep bringing you back on here.
Always
Johnny,
down.
I got one
love
more
talking to you
question.
guys. Yeah.
I got one more question on the way out. You were at the game with the fights. How was that?
Oh, dude, it was so sick. It was so sick. I did say though, like, if there's a fourth and fifth one, I just want to watch some hockey. Like that. The JT one was cool too, but it was a lot. Like, I was just so excited to watch those teams face off against each other. Like I was not, and I don't mean to get like off topic, but I do partially hate that a lot of the focus turned into what it did and like the political stuff and whatnot. Like I get that sometimes it's unavoidable and that it played into the narrative a little bit, but I just really hope there aren't people that were turned off by what the product actually was on the ice with everything going on outside of it. Because
I don't think so. I think it
no,
was
but there
phenomenal.
were, man, like there were people that were like, I can't even watch this tournament now because of what it's turned into. And I was like, you're just letting it get to you. Like, like literally we're watching McDavid, McCarr, Crosby, and McKinnon play against Matthews, Eichel. Like it was so sick. Like, man, like
It's tough with the politics when you do international tournaments. You get the Russia issues with the war, and then, there's a lot of crazy stuff. But you just try to separate it. And
I thought it was cool though.
enjoy
Like
the games,
I thought it was cool that like the president like cared about the game. Like I thought that
It was the
cool.
perfect amount.
You know?
It was the perfect amount of like
Yeah.
motivation
and Trudeau too cared. He
like
responded too.
a little bit
It was
WWE
fun.
aspect. You need that.
Yeah.
It brings people into it that don't care about hockey to watch the game, and
I
then they're
agree.
like, "Oh wow, I really like hockey now."
And I will
Yeah,
say,
maybe.
if you guys have not been to the Bell Center, that was my first time there.
It's been a long time.
And I see Chris's comment, always give Johnny one more. That's what he does to all his guests. You can give me 5 more if you want.
No, you need a night off. This was supposed to be
I
your
always
night
need
off.
one last. I'm just waiting until I'm about to get my Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream, watch Devil's Avalanche.
Once we can afford you, you'll be a fourth chair on the show, lads.
Yeah, where all are you guys?
I'm in Long Beach,
Miami.
Long Island.
Long Beach, Miami. Okay.
Yeah, I live in
Coaches
Miami.
in Baldwin on
Baldwin?
Long Island as well.
Long Beach, Miami, and Baldwin. Wow.
Yeah, I'm from Oceanside though, New York.
Yeah. Damn, watching Rangers hockey from Miami must be a vibe. So I imagine everyone's staying with you for New Year's next year.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
we'll be down there for the game, so we'll definitely
Well,
have to get together, lads.
Little that was supposed to come down this year for New Year's, couldn't
That's
make
gonna
it
be
though.
sick.
Other stuff, but yeah,
That's gonna be
it is.
awesome.
It's beautiful. The weather's beautiful every day here, man. In the winter, I'm getting pictures of them in the snow, and I'm outside in 50-degree weather.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
definitely love
I
it.
actually I rollerbladed probably like 8 miles today just because it was like a little nice out. And I said to myself, I was like, why do I not live in a place that has the sun all year round? Like I am just 10 times happier. Like,
Yeah.
It is nice.
yeah,
It
it's
is
awesome.
nice. You miss it too, though. You miss the cold sometimes.
Yeah. You appreciate the warm days probably more when you don't have them as much.
Exactly.
Yeah. But all right, boys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. If you have one more, anyone?
Yeah, Chris
I do.
says, Johnny, are you a pigeon in the spring?
I don't even know what that means.
I
does that
actually
mean?
I actually have
Me
one
neither.
more. I can't leave. I can't let Johnny leave without asking about his boy Loff. What the hell has happened?
I disowned him today.
It was crazy, but at the start of the year, he looked like he was on pace for like that 80, 90. I mean, like he was gonna. It was unbelievable, and the playoffs he had is just beyond belief.
I really thought that. Chris is talking about roller hockey. Yes, I will be a pigeon in the spring. Yeah, I really don't know, man. I fought so hard to defend that guy last year, and listen, I still think it's there. We've seen it, right? It is there. I don't know what's going on with this team. Like they just, it's so hard to
I
put an
think it's-
answer. Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's what you said. I think it's like he's looking at the veterans and he's like, you know what, I can get away with this right now. I'm not going to lose out on any playing time, and it's just the mentality.
yeah, it's
Again.
tough, man. But I'll tell you what, when that contract kicks in next year, he better work his ass off to make people believe that he's worth it. You know.
Yeah,
I think right now he can kind of get away with it because he's not making that money right now. Like, people, again, I saw someone like crapping on Borgen today, and I was like, well, I'm not going to judge Borgen's contract till it kicks in next year. And I still think he's been a bright spot since he's been here.
Dude,
But
he like that game against Pittsburgh. He ate that puck at the end. It was a wide open
Yeah.
net, right? Wasn't it? I mean,
yeah, it
he
was.
saved a goal. Literally ate the puck. I mean, that's his
I-
job.
I don't know. Like, I don't have the answer for what happened this year. And I wish I did. And I'm sure we'll get it eventually. But
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to know.
yeah.
There'll be a book one day about this. It should be a documentary. Honestly, it's crazy.
Mhm. We'll hear
But,
about it sooner or later.
Yeah. All right, Johnny. We'll let you go before someone sneaks in a last question here. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, boys.
we'll have you
By
on
the
again
way-
soon, bro. Thank you.
By the way, love your show. If for
Yeah.
all most
Thank
of these
you,
people
guys.
listen to your show. Morning
Thank
Cup
you.
of Hockey. Most of our listeners listen to you also. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
but check them out if you're not. What time is the show? Every day.
Nah.
Every day, 9 a.m. We go to like 10:15 usually in the morning. Yeah, appreciate you guys.
No,
Yeah, man.
appreciate you,
Good.
man. Thanks for your
Talk
time.
soon. Later.
Later, bro.
Later, bro.
All right, that was Johnny Laz. Always some, good insight into the team. It's tough. You bring people on, Little Ed, and you want to ask all these questions because we want this information, but it's like I feel like nobody can really give the answers for what the hell has gone on with this team this year. It's just something that it's like a vibe. It's not really like, oh, this occurred, and then early in the year it was like, oh, Drury upset the players, then it was the Trouba thing, and I just don't think there's one thing that happened that can you can say that's the cause of this. I just think there's like an infection in the room of something, and nobody can really give us that answer, man.
Yeah, I think we've been doing the show for like 5 years now. I think in the beginning of the show, like we kind of started out with like, it's the country club attitude. They need to rebuild. They need to bring in new talent or new vibes, whatever. And then it started to shift. Obviously, we had the two big cup runs, and then now we feel like it's going back in the south, in the direction south. It's a little rough. And we just kind of talked about it ad nauseum with Laz. But like I said, I'll say it again. Like it's just that mentality where it's like Laz said it. It's like you're going in thinking you're going to win the game. There's a fine line between confidence and like overconfidence, I guess.
Yeah.
We say, I've been saying to our players all weekend, I said to our players, play with that confidence that we saw you guys play with the last couple of weeks. Like you want to play with confidence, but you don't want to go into a game overconfident thinking you're going to blow out a team like Buffalo. And I didn't want to continue on with Laz and stuff, like about the Four Nations and stuff. But like, you look like a player like Tage Thompson. They brought him in as like a black ace or whatever at the end to whatever, just in case somebody got hurt. So he got that taste of that play, and then he comes in and he dominates the Rangers.
You know, he's a great player, but I
Well,
mean,
I'm saying, like, they just got that little bit of a taste, and now he's ramped up his game even another step.
so I think you know, I think Jonny had a point in that the Four Nations tournament is a best on best, and the NHL is not, right? The NHL is not a best on best. So how you perform in the Four Nations tournament is not necessarily indicative of whether you're going to be successful against any team in a playoff series in the regular season. Or anything.
Is it better on better?
No, it's best on best. So it's like, you know, you look at take the Panthers against the Rangers, right?
No, I know.
Last year, I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, it's Fox is up against whoever he's up against. He's not up against McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby. I mean, it's like insane.
Right.
So yeah, in that kind of a setting, maybe he struggles, but that doesn't mean he's going to struggle in a playoff series. I look, I'll just want to talk about Fox without Jonny here for a second, because we did address this, and I can't let you off the hook too much.
Because you can't let it go. You can't just end the conversation.
No, I got to just say my point.
Now I have Coach Ed at my back because he wasn't responding to that text.
I didn't get to say it on the show yet. I only said it via text, so let me say it. I think the fans out there that get on Shesterkin and Fox, it's not necessarily unjustified, but when you look at the Rangers season as a whole, there's so many things that have gone wrong. You know, I mean, like Panarin. Where the hell has Panarin been? Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Kreider. You know, go down the list. The entire team has been abysmal, and Fox is 27. He's probably the Rangers' best player. Shesterkin is one of the top 5 goalie in the league, if not the best goalie in the league. They are not having their best seasons. That is 100% true. I don't know why we have to get angry at them when, in order to be a good team and get back to where we need to be, there's a million things ahead of them on the list that need to be fixed. So that's why I'm more focused on like the other things. And I think when people are bashing Fox, it's like, yeah, okay, fine. Little Ed, you have a point. He's not physical. Yeah, they need a physical D in that, you know, in the playoffs. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't think we should necessarily like care so much about that, because that's not going to, fixing that isn't going to make the Rangers good. Does that answer, like, clarify all my texts? Coach says no. Why, Coach?
No, because you kind of just answered the question. You just named the 5 leadership guys on the team that should be stepping up. The 3rd, 4th liners are going to come out every night and play because they're fighting for their life in the NHL. Generally. The other guys are the ones that have to step up, and they're not.
Who's a bigger problem for the Rangers, Fox or Zibanejad?
I would say
Fox or Kreider. Fox or Panarin.
I didn't want to keep putting the pressure on Laz either, but you have to with that. I remember cousin Frankie, who almost made it to the MLB, talking to him as a kid. You have to love being at the rink more than you do being with your family.
Well,
like he said, like we watched the Zibanejad Rangers. Well, I'm trying to make a point, and you're making a joke. You watch the Zibanejad out of the locker room in 2 minutes. What did he say about the Panthers? They're having a ball in the locker room. They're not looking to run home. That's part of the whole game and the whole 5-hour thing. They're not saying I got to run home. I got to get out of here. I'm going to dinner. I'm doing, you know. It's got to be that group of this is what is the focus in my life right now. And that's got to come together as a team in a selfish way. Not that they don't love their
not
family.
necessarily your life, but like for that 5 hours.
Right. Not that they don't love their family, not that their kids aren't more important than anything, but for that 4 or 5 hours, you need, you know, like Cal Ripken had a quote when he used to stay after the game and sign every autograph till 1 a.m. My kids are sleeping. My wife's sleeping. There's no sense in me running home. I'm with the guys. And that was it. He played 162 games a year.
Well, there's
know,
some truth to that, Coach. I don't disagree with you. I mean, obsession leads to success, right? So a lot of people say
it's a
criticize
fine line.
obsession.
It's a mix, but you got to be able to
Yeah,
prioritize. And when you want to win a Stanley Cup, that's one of the ingredients.
yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
Like it or not, whatever you want to call it, but that's got to be one of the ingredients. You got to, I'm having a great time, and you have to have a wife, and you have to have kids that understand. It's not easy for them. The whole thing is a shit show when you're a pro athlete, but it's a fact that the teams that do all that together,
But
that's
don't you
what's going
think
to make a difference.
don't you think the bigger problem, I guess, is that Fox is part of a collective of star players that are all soft, more so than like Fox is soft. Like it's all that to me is
100%.
like he's fine, but you can't have him and all
No.
of them be soft at the same time. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Oh.
That's what I said in one of the texts that I answered. I'm like, oh, great. They need another soft guy in the lineup. You don't need that. There's enough.
Yeah,
We got Panarin that doesn't hit. Yeah, he'll go in the corner. He'll do it, but he's not. He's a soft player.
Can we talk
And
about
to
Panarin?
me-
What is going on with him, man? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, yeah. Before we get into Panarin, like to me, I mean, I kind of just thought of this as like you guys. Obviously, yes, Lindgren. We need to move on from Lindgren. The Rangers need to move on from Lindgren. There's no secret there. Like to me personally, when I'm sitting here podcasting or analyzing the Rangers or watching the games, it's pointless for me to pick apart Ryan Lindgren's game. And for me to pick on Ryan Lindgren, who's making $4 or $5 million, who's not really expected to be the best defenseman on the team and to be a shutdown player and be offensive and this and that and the other. Unfortunately for Fox, he doesn't get a free pass to take games off. And the same thing goes for Shesterkin. And every goalie analyst will say, Henrik says it every time, Valley says it every time, when Shesterkin comes up with the big saves, the Rangers or any other NHL team in general, when a goalie makes big saves, they play a different way. And it showed when he wasn't making the big saves against Buffalo, like Laz said, the team just starts to give up. They don't care.
Yeah.
They stop hitting. When he's making the big saves against the Islanders, the team's fired up. They want to win for him. They want to win for each other. We said it all weekend with Stony Brook. Win for each other. Do it for each other. If Shesterkin's not making the big save, we're not going to do this one for Shesterkin. This game's over. I'm not saying they're saying that, but like that's the human nature of the mentality.
Okay,
and
so
like
this
the same
this
thing goes
is-
for Fox. Maybe he doesn't feel like he needs to give it 110% physically this season because this season's a wash. Whether it's in the back of the mind, the front of the mind, subconsciously, whatever.
I think the issue that I have with what you're saying, and I don't disagree with it, is it's more so that it implies that like the Rangers are struggling because of Fox and Shesterkin. That's what like the implication is what you're saying. You're pretty much saying like if Igor makes those saves, the Rangers
Hockey's
will
a team game.
The Rangers will win. If Fox plays better, the Rangers and that's where I think the problem is that I don't think it matters what Shesterkin does, the way the team has played defense. It doesn't make a difference if he's on top of his game or not. He's not the problem. It's really I think that's what it is, but that's not what you're really saying. So I think it's just like a miscommunication of the message. Let's just leave it at that. I think I'm just interpreting what you're saying differently. But fans, just so you know, this was like a 2-day conversation via text. So
about 170 text messages.
Yeah, Coach said he had 170 messages. That was us going back and forth on this. Just kind of
but again, you just answered your question. You just answered your statement or whatever you want to say. In the beginning of the season, Shesterkin was lights out, and they were like 12-2-4 or something.
Yeah.
He's also the only goal in the NHL this year that let up 5 or more goals like 5 times.
I'm going to say it right now.
Without Hellebuck or the Jets, the Jets.
Well, no,
I honestly don't know. I don't watch Jets games. I'm not going to sit here and pretend.
No, I always say that, Little Ed, that the goalie's part of the team for sure. He's not been great this year. He's had moments, but he's also had really bad stretches. There's no question that Buffalo game was partially his fault. That first goal, he's got to make that save. It trickles past him. I don't know how that went in. So I'm not saying you can't criticize Shesterkin, but I'm going to say this right now. I'm calling this now as one of the first people. If the Rangers get in the playoffs and play Washington, Shesterkin beats Logan Thompson. Rangers win that series. Guarantee it.
PJ.
Put it down. Mark it down, clip this, put it wherever you want.
I
If
don't
they
hate
play
that.
Washington, he
I
beats
don't hate
he
that.
beats Logan Thompson.
If Opus doesn't grab this one, PJ, I'll make it myself because we need that one.
Just saying. All right.
I love
What else
that.
we got?
I don't
Oh,
hate that.
Coach Panarin, please give me some. What the hell is going on with this guy?
Look,
He's been a
again,
ghost.
I've been saying it for like 3 years. They're not going to win a cup with just him as the guy, man.
All right, but focus on his recent play, Coach. What
You
the
can
hell's
say
going
whatever
on?
you want. He doesn't have the body language. Yeah, I'm sure he has a competitive level.
There's no
He should have
points.
the
To me, it looks like
He's
captain
not
next year.
farting the points out. He's not farting
I don't
the
give a
points out.
shit. He's throwing points out. All right, he's throwing points out, but
No, he's not. I'm
being
saying
what?
he's not farting the points out. I'm saying.
All right, so
In
then
the
that's
past,
even worse.
In the past, he'd at least be farting points out while he was doing this. Now there's
Not
no
even
points being
close.
farted out.
No farts.
Dude, he comes down the wing last game. He gets a little bit of back pressure from the back checker, and he's got plenty of space in front of him to keep going wide and like try to create something. He just whips a backhand pass across the middle of the offensive zone while the D are changing behind him. The D are getting off. Turns it over, intercepted pass, turns it over. They go back the other way 3-on-2, and then he glides off the ice. I was just like, why is he continuous? Like,
He's been driving me crazy like that for a few years. Only, like you
If-
said, he's been farting out the points, so you let him get away with it.
Chris just
But
brought
now
up on
teams-
screen. Chris just said in the comments that Panarin needs this, and then what did we say before? Fox needs this.
right.
So what's our point? Panarin and Fox aren't the guy. If they need something, they are not the guy. Guys like
Right.
McKinnon don't need something. Guys like McCarr don't need something. They are the
Well,
guys.
It's not that they need it. I agree with you in what you're saying there. They're not the guy like McCarr, but dude,
We
McCarr
just saw
has,
Mikko
McCarr has
Rantanen. Mikko
Devontae's.
Rantanen is the Panarin type. He's not the guy. He needs a McKinnon.
Dude, he's got
Another good
Devontae's as a
example.
partner. He doesn't need that, but that makes him so much better. Imagine if Fox had Devontae's as a partner. Imagine a world, an alternate universe where that's the case.
You know what? I hope we get to see it. I really do. But I'll say it again. I still don't think that's going to be enough. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it has to. He has to be better than Devontae's.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You know, like it's
all right,
just.
well, let's see what happens because Lindgren is going to get moved and Drury's not going to sit still. There's pretty much slim pickings out there in UFA and RFA. I took a look and I don't know. He's going to have to get creative, find that D partner for Fox and the style of D partner. Is it going to be a Buka Boom type that coach wants? Is it going to be more of a better version of Keandre, bigger mobile guy? Is it going to be a puck mover as well? Like how he creates that pair as the GM, I think is going to really be a huge factor in whether the Rangers are a good team. I think that pair needs to be one of the top pairs in the league. Whoever he puts with Fox, it needs to be the right decision. I'm not saying what that decision is, but it needs to be the right decision.
Yeah, it's a
What's
hard
Fox's
one.
salary hit
Fox is
Maybe.
9.5
currently, and then for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's his deal. On the open market, Fox gets easily 12, 13 million, very easily. So that's a below market value deal. I'm just saying. I know you may think
I'm just trying to think of a way to put Fox on the second pair and still build the first pair.
Oh my god, dude, what? Unless you put that's crazy,
Don't
man.
get me started, little Ed. Again,
What the hell?
we could be here all night. No, Chris brings up a good point in the comments about Gaborik, and I thought this would be a good discussion point. That I remember when Gaborik was on the Rangers with Torts. Torts hated him because he wanted Gaborik to play like Little Ed and Coach Ed, like physical, block shots, do this, do that. He got traded to LA and won the cup there. And it's kind of, this is another example that Cousin Ed always talks about too, that we saw the stat card recently about Mikkola. Didn't even throw a hit with the Rangers, and then he shows up in Florida and like just a whole different player. So is it a culture thing that maybe these guys aren't playing a certain way? Can they be better if with maybe this is the start of it with JT Miller? You kind of saw Mika.
I have an answer.
Last night. So go ahead.
With the Rangers, Gaborik was the guy. With LA, he was not the guy.
That's
What do you
fair.
mean?
That's literally the point that we were just making. With Panarin, Panarin goes
don't
to
get
another
it.
team right now. Panarin goes to Vegas or whatever. He's not the guy anymore. Vegas wins a cup with Panarin on the team. No problem.
Got you.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
understand what you're saying.
Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fox goes to another Stanley Cup team right now. He wins a
I
cup.
think
no
that's
problem.
not, but that's not what PJ was saying. That's a good point. But I think what PJ's saying is the players changed the way they play. Like when Gabrick went to LA, he was forechecking, back checking. He was doing things that he
So
wasn't
he was
doing.
buying into what Tortorella wanted
Right.
to do. Right.
Right. So what PJ's saying is it a culture thing with the Rangers that the players come here and don't do that, and then they go elsewhere and they change their style of play?
Well, it goes from being the best player on the team to being the top 5 player on the team.
It's 100% a culture thing.
You got to find
Just
different
like
ways to get into the lineup.
you need someone again. You run Truber out of town, but 2 years ago when he did the helmet throwing incident, that was a message to his teammates. Like, let's get our act together and start playing.
Right.
There's no one on the Rangers that's doing that. If Zibanejad's not playing up to par, no one's getting in his face.
Well, he's playing with JT now, and
he's playing a lot better. He's
last night he was
he's
good.
not killing guys,
games or 12
he's
and
not
15
killing guys, but he's getting body position. He's bumping.
That hit last night, I've never seen anything like it.
You don't have to kill.
Hit. Led to a goal.
Get in his way. You got to make it happen.
Led to a goal. After the goal, they're on the bench and they're talking, and Zibanejad looks activated with Miller communicating about the game. I really loved what I saw there. And at first, when he put Zibanejad on the right wing with Miller, I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of like, what? Like, why are we? I don't mind Zibanejad on the right wing, but he's like a center. Like, what are you doing? Is he going to fit with Miller? Miller didn't get along with Elias Pettersson. Is he going to really like Zibanejad? But it seems like it's kind of motivated me, partially probably because he's sitting there like, I have a feeling they're going to ask me to waive this no move clause if I don't pick up my game. You know, that might be part of it. I don't know, but it seems like he's buying into Miller a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I was kind of getting at. Like, hopefully they change that. Miller's a start, bring in new guys. And that's what the coaching, maybe, I don't know if it's a Laviolette thing, but can someone get the team to play differently?
Yeah.
The players have to, man.
It's also like a weird dynamic where it's like when Gabrick was on the team, you don't want him to be blocking shots because you don't want him to get hurt. When he's on LA, we don't give a shit if he's blocking shots. So like, you know what I mean? It's like kind of like a weird dynamic when you're rooting for a player versus like when you're watching them play somewhere else. Like, I don't necessarily want Mika diving in front of a shot because you don't really want him to get hurt, but that's what it's going to take to win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I know I'm not really saying it well, but it's like, I don't know.
No, I hear you. You're saying that, like, I don't really want Artemi Panarin to be like risking it all in a game in February to block a shot, but without that kind of a mentality, he's never going to be the guy who can actually get you to the finals and win. But what you want is him doing that when it matters, right? Like, I don't need him doing that now, but he's got to be the guy who's doing the whole team has to do it when it matters. That's it. Like, period.
No, you know what I want? I want him to dump the puck in when he has to dump the puck in. And I want him busting his ass to the bench on a line change.
Yeah.
Not just saying, F this, my shift is over. Let Fox get the puck in the corner. I got to change. That's what I want. Dump the puck in.
Yeah. Speaking of guys who.
Not every time. Don't get me wrong. Not every time. But game situations. Why is he doing that? I see it.
I don't know. It drives me. He floats off the ice on a line change so often. They almost call too many men every single time. And you hear Micheletti like, "Oh, there was too many men." I'm like, Panarin changed. I don't even have to know. Like, I already.
That's a mentality thing. That's a mentality thing. Oh, thing too, and leading by example. And like, you see other teams not doing that. Like, there's no way other teams like if McKinnon's on your bench or someone like that, they're not screaming like get off the ice. Like I saw it. They didn't have the audio obviously, but you saw Crosby screaming at somebody on Team Canada. Yeah. He's like screaming at like another best player in the world, saying like you better. He said something like back check. You better be back checking or something like that. I forget what it was. I think it was game 1 or game 2 or their second game. But like You know, like it's just always someone like there's always something that someone could be doing more.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
crazy.
speaking of guys who are always doing more and hustling on changes, let's bring this to our milestone moment sponsored by Old Country Tile. Jimmy VC got his 100th career goal. Pretty good milestone for VC, who reinvented himself after he was signed as one of the top unsigned prospects, expected to be somewhat of an offensive player, reinvented himself as a penalty killer, defensive guy, and still 100 career goals is quite the achievement. So congrats to Jimmy VC on that. And I'm happy that he was able to get that. I mean, he hasn't played in a while. He's been sitting on 99 goals, and it was a big one. It was a game-tying goal after they blew a 2-1 lead to enter the third. They were being outplayed, and it really changed the momentum in that game and led to a win. So it's not just – and it was a snipe, absolute snipe, right? So beautiful goal by Jimmy VC, and congrats to him. All right. Let's I'm trying to think. Should we do stars of the week? Do we have stars of the week? Are you guys prepared for your stars of the week? Let's go to the stars of the week. Let's just do it.
I had a rough weekend. I didn't really get to watch the games, to be honest with you, because our games coincided.
Yeah.
So
It's all right. Let's go to the stars of the week. We're going to do our player of the week, our highlight play of the week, and Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award. All right. Offensive player of the week, PJ comes in prepared always, so we'll give Coach Ed a second, a chance to piggyback. Let's start with PJ.
Yeah, I was doing some thoughts today. I'm going to go JT. I mean, I'm pulling out the Buffalo game because not a soul was bad, but he did have 2 assists. And I had to talk Cousin Ed off the ledge a little bit about JT in the text. It was a dark moment, but I mean, he was awesome, against Pittsburgh, really great snipe. And then yesterday, huge goal. I mean, just feel like he's kind of involved in a lot of the offense recently.
Yeah. I gotta agree, man. He had 3 goals in the last 2 games. He's up to 14 goals now. He's been doing well with the Rangers, and not just that, but the impact, like we said about on Mika and stuff like that, I think is really important and goes to offensive player of the week. I just that goal he scored against Pittsburgh, that was Mika was responsible for that goal, and that doesn't happen without his intensity, without Miller's intensity, right? So, Coach, you gonna piggyback or you got somebody else?
No, I'm going to piggyback. He had the 2 assists in that Buffalo game. He had the 2 goals against Pittsburgh in a win that we desperately needed, and then he got one yesterday. And obviously, his game is pretty complete as far as an NHL player. So he's riding high right now. I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, and Little Ed.
I'm going with my boy Jonny Brodzinski.
I knew I was going to say Jonny. Those 2 goals yesterday,
dude. I mean, we could give it to the whole 4th line, right? Or 3rd, 4th line. That line just played
one game.
They played phenomenal. It's a big game. They come out and lose another one, or come out with a stinker against the Islanders. I mean, this podcast was already pretty dark. Imagine if they lost last night to the Islanders.
It's a big shot.
I would have freaking.
I was going to say maybe they were motivated. They called it the Wolfpack line last night because it was Brodzinski, Rempe, and Hoffman, all the guys that played in the Wolfpack, and they got fed off the Wolves this weekend from Stony Brook. Maybe
that's what's up, baby. The Wolfpack for the pack.
Yeah, no, they were good. All right, let's go to the highlight play of the week. I'll start this one. It's probably not the actual highlight, but I went with Rempe's goal just because he scored against the Islanders and they hate him so much. And it was a nice goal. He again showed off those hands that I said he has. So whenever he does it, I get. Oh,
you should have asked Laz again. You forgot.
Nah, I don't want to do that to him.
No, at this point, it'll be an ongoing thing.
I thought about it, but nah. But that just the Islanders fans are. Dude, they're losing 4-1 and then Rempe scores. That's got to suck for them. So for me, that was the highlight. Go ahead. Coach.
I got the Mika hit and on the Miller goal. I mean, that's like the highlight of that's like Mika's highlight of his career. Like, God, we've been waiting for him to do that. What?
Mika created a goal by forechecking, dude. I was like in shock. I was sitting there like, and the camera angle changed to the boards, so you saw the hit, and it was a good hit. It was a real good hit, man.
Yeah.
Coach, so my question is, where have those hits been? So it's like I always say to my players, I know you're capable of doing it. I've seen it happen. Why aren't you doing it more?
It's so frustrating.
No,
That you can say that for the whole team, coach. That's why
I
it's so
can't
frustrating
imagine.
when they
I
win.
can't imagine being an NHL coach because just from this little bullshit playoff weekend, my nerves were shot before a game. My heart was beating all game, overtime. I can't even imagine what goes through their mind in the Four Nations game. It's
Yeah,
not
you
See
say
Patrick
it's
Roy
bull-
on
you
the
say it's
bench during that
bullshit.
game. He was like,
oh, Patrick Roy was ready to freaking kill someone.
well, after the game, he said the Islanders were the better team or whatever. I don't know.
All their players did actually.
The Islanders did too.
Mm-hmm.
You say
How'd
it's
that
bullshit,
turn out?
but it's
How'd
still
that turn
college
out?
hockey, and it's all the kids got. You know.
I guess the goalie was better. Coach,
No, I went with
what's your highlight
Rempe. I'm going with Rempe also. I actually saw that deflection goal. I love it. I thought that was great. He got body position, concentration.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love him. He works hard.
I love when
he-
Rempe
he-
scores.
He wants to be there. You know, he's never going to be more than possibly a third liner, but he's just he wants to be there. He's having fun every time he's on the ice.
PJ,
I'm gonna go a little out of left field. I'm gonna go the third goal yesterday, Brodzinski's second goal. Wasn't like an amazing play, but just the way the goal happened, how like Rempe hit somebody, got it back to the point, like simple hockey that I hope just spreads to the rest of the team. But then also a cool moment was Othman with a huge screen. And I thought he had a really good game yesterday. And I hope he plays even if Kreider's back on Friday.
Yep. That goal was beautiful too. Great shot, and
And a big goal. I feel like that really set the tone
goal.
for the rest of the game.
yeah. And Valley thought Othman tipped it. I was kind of glad they didn't give it to him because that would suck for the kid. That was
Yeah, it would have been so anticlimactic.
his first NHL goal. He doesn't even get to celebrate it on the ice. He doesn't get the announcement from the, PA guy, and it doesn't get the puck. It is a lot. There's a lot that goes into that. So I was kind of glad they left it. All right, Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award. And Coach Ed's Doghouse is sponsored by Suitors Sweet Treats. Check them out on Instagram, Suitors Sweet Treats, and on Etsy, Double Sweets and Gift. Use discount code EDPOD, get 10% off, plus your free Doghouse cookie. Okay, Coach Ed.
Some ad read.
Last episode, what's that?
I said that was some ad read. That was really good.
Well, thank you. Last episode 136, you had Alexis Lafreniere in the doghouse. Is he still in the doghouse?
He's still in, and I'm throwing Igor in also for that abysmal Buffalo game.
He didn't make up for it the last two, Coach?
I'm sorry?
He didn't make up for that the last two games? He was the reason they won in Pittsburgh.
And against the Islanders.
There.
You come out of the break. He has no excuse of being tired in the Four Nations. Who knows what he did on the break for 10 days or 12 days or whatever it was.
He
You
was
gotta
cruising
come
with
out, you gotta be
Buchnevich and
Yeah, you got to
Brighton
come out and
Beach.
be focused. You got to come out and carry the team against Buffalo. So I got to put him in, letting up getting pulled against Buffalo. Come on, Buffalo's a good team.
PJ's sitting over there right now, and he's like twitching. His like neck is like. He's like, really, Coach? Like
he's like Woganowski.
You sure?
I almost picked him for my star of the week. That would have been really good.
I know.
That's all right. That's what it's about.
Well, that's happened. That's
what
happened
it's
with me and
about.
Coach before. All right. So Coach, last episode, I had Lafreniere, Fox, and Lindgren in. I'm taking Lindgren out, taking Fox out. I'm putting Panarin in. Laffy and Panarin for me. It's just not good enough, I mean, it's the same old story. I don't need to keep repeating it. We talked about Panarin earlier. We talked about Laff with Johnny Laz. You guys know what's going on. It's just they're not farting the points out. And if you're going to play this way, and you got to at least fart the points. Like it can't be one way. You know what I mean? That's it. Like,
yeah,
that's it. You can't be lazy and not fart points. At least one of the other.
At least produce on the power play or something.
Right, something. Nothing going on with these guys. And Terrible.
I'm with you. I forget who I had last week, so do your thing. But
You weren't there last week. You missed the episode, so
the week before, I think I had Laffy as well. So yeah, he'll stay in. Panarin's definitely in. I mean, if they lost to the Islanders and Igor even had a mediocre game, he'd be in. But I'll let PJ sleep tonight, and I'll leave him out because of the last 2 games.
But what about Fox?
Music to my ears.
Fox is hurt. I can't put him in, even though I think he was soft for getting hurt. But I didn't want to lay into that either.
All right, PJ, who's in your doghouse? Last time you had just Laffy.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep Laffy in, and I'm with you too. I'm throwing Panarin in. I really hope that the 2-week break, especially for him, was going to be huge. Just because I feel like I don't know if he was hurt or run down, but I expected him to come out flying, and this hasn't been the case. He had a couple of good chances yesterday, but need more.
Yeah. All right, great job, guys. Let's throw it over to Mikey P for the Fantasy 150. It should be a quick one. Take a little break here, and if you follow fantasy hockey, listen to Mikey P.
And welcome back to the Rangers Ed Fantasy Hockey 150. Got a bit of a shorter one for you this week because we're coming off the Four Nations face-off break, and most teams have only played a game or 2. But nonetheless, we'll jump right in with some injury news. First off, Valeri Nichushkin has finally been activated off injured reserve and will be in the lineup tonight, Wednesday night, for the Colorado Avalanche. Thatcher Demko of the Vancouver Canucks is back once again on injured reserve, this time with an upper body injury, and will miss at least the remaining 3 games of the Canucks road trip. Josh Norris, Brady Tkachuk, and Shane Pinto are all sidelined in tonight's tilt against the Winnipeg Jets for the Ottawa Senators. Roman Josi has been listed as day-to-day with an apparent upper body injury for the Nashville Predators, but details have yet to emerge on that. Matthew Tkachuk has not played since his first period injury against against Canada in the first U.S.-Canada game of the Four Nations face-off. And details, again, have yet to emerge on the seriousness of that injury. And finally, the Rangers saw Adam Fox and Keandre Miller leave Tuesday's game, and the Rangers are now left in dire straits at their blue line. Onto the waiver wire, though. Injuries aside, there's lots of good options out there if your team is one of the ones hit by the injury bug. First off, we have Ryan Donato of the Chicago Blackhawks, owned in only 25% of Yahoo leagues. Donato is a positional unicorn with a center, left wing, right wing listing, and he has put up 15 points in his last 13 games. He does have phenomenal category coverage in traditional formats, especially ones that reward face-offs. He is a huge asset on almost any team. Second on the list, we have Mason McTavish of the Anaheim Ducks, owned in only 11% of Yahoo leagues. McTavish is an emerging fantasy superstar. He played on the second line and the first power play for the Ducks, and just like Donato, he has phenomenal category coverage, especially in leagues that reward penalty minutes as well as face-off wins. Third on the list, we have Shane Wright of the Seattle Kraken. Apparently, his time in the AHL did him good. He's owned in only 13% of leagues and has put up 13 goals and 21 assists this year, with 12 of those points coming in the Kraken's last 11 games. As with McTavish, if your league rewards face-off wins, Wright should be given serious consideration as he is on a bit of a heater at the moment. Unfortunately, we're not giving out any tip of the hats this week because, like I said, we've only had a game or 2 per squad since the Four Nations break. So if you want to hear that, tune in next week. And as always, we have some fantastic hockey coming up this week, so make sure you tune in next week for more fantasy hockey news, insights, and updates. This has been your Rangers Ed 150.
Nice, Mike.
Great job as always by Mikey P. I thought he said it was going to be shorter though. Oh,
I think I might have I sped that one up a little too much, I think, but I think he's trying to talk faster, and now I'm also speeding it up a little bit. So now it's just like, so.
Yeah. All right.
Let's debate last week.
Let's take a look at our upcoming schedule, sponsored by Sorrento's of Long Beach. Make sure when you watch these games, you order your Sorrento's. Go there, get the pizza, get the specialty sandwiches. They're amazing. The line is long, so I don't know, maybe place the order early. It's a popular place. You want to go there. First, before we do that, actually, PJ, give us the results of our Four Nations picks here.
Yep. So we did a couple.
Keeping tally of the points, right, for the season. I don't have to track this one.
Yeah, I'm doing a point for correct and a minus for incorrect, like almost like a record, like 1 and 2 or 1 and 1. So just to kind of recap what we predicted, we did not only the final, like who was in the final and who won, and then we did, since we had an episode halfway between, we did the final again. So like me and Little Ed both hedged our bets. And then we also did which Ranger was going to get the most points overall. So to recap, I'll go Coach Ed first. He had JT Miller with the most points, which was incorrect. He had US over Canada in the final. So both of those were incorrect because he had US winning. And he also had US again when we did the final prediction on its own. So including the couple Ranger games we did 3 weeks ago, he's 2-5.
Okay, coach, 2-5. Hanging in there.
Cousin Ed had Mika getting the most points, which technically was correct because he tied with Kreider for first overall. So I gave you one there.
All right.
You had US over Sweden, so that was a quick 0-2 there.
Oh,
And then
No,
you-
it's
surprise,
1-1.
surprise, surprise. PJ gave you an extra point.
I was right. That's why.
Surprise, surprise.
well, I didn't give you the point for US over Sweden because you had US winning. We did whoever was winning and second. So you were in the wrong position there.
Oh, so that's
and
0-2.
and then you had USA doubled down in the final. So you're at 3-4 overall.
Okay.
We'll move on to Little Ed, who had JT Miller also. So that was an 0-1. He had Canada over the US initially. So he got 2 there. But he hedged last week and went US. So now he's sitting in first place at 4-3.
Okay. All right.
And then for myself, I had
Is
5.
anyone following how this is working? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not. I have no
Can you
idea
run-
what's going on.
Can you run that back for me?
To simplify,
Wait,
if you get something
Wait, let
right,
me get
you get a win.
what's that calculator you used to have, Ed? You had to have for calculating.
TI
The
180 or
graphing
whatever.
one, yeah, the PI
Yeah, I
90.
I
the
need one of those
Tetris one.
calculators.
It's strictly just you get something right, you get a win. If you get something wrong, you get a loss. I mean, it'll be a little easier once we just do the Ranger games, but this was a crazy little prediction. But
Okay.
myself, I had Fox overall getting points, and boy, do I look stupid. And then I had US over Sweden with Cousin Ed, so I was a quick 0-2 there. But I hedged and went Canada. I had a weird feeling they were going to win. So with my Ranger games from the prior weeks, I'm 3-4.
All right. So Little Ed running it right now. 4-3, right?
My new version of trivia in the lead, baby. Let's go.
All
Well,
right.
speaking
So
of
now we,
That makes me think of and a quick RIP to Al Troutwig, but I missed the
Oh,
trivia
yeah.
they used to do with Sam and JD, and then they would show their faces either happy or sad if they got it right.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
funny.
that was the
I
best.
remember that. All right. So we got
Hilarious.
2, well, technically 3 games. You guys are going to the Islander game on Monday, right? The Islander game's Monday
Yes.
or Tuesday this week?
Next Monday.
Right. So let's predict Toronto, Nashville, and the Islander game coming up, all 3 at the Garden. So we have to predict each game, right? So versus Toronto, win or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
specify each one, and this way I can keep track when first loss.
All right, lead the way, PJ. Who goes first?
Let's go coach first. He's first on my list. I have written here.
Toronto and
So-
loss.
Home against Toronto.
I don't see them beating Toronto without Fox and Keandre, the way Keandre's playing.
Okay.
Toronto lost.
Oh.
Predators win. Islanders win.
Okay.
Yeah, coach just changed my mind, but I'm still going to go with my gut. I'm going with win, loss, win. They don't show up against the bad teams. They only show up against the good teams.
Okay. Let's go.
The wheels are turning.
It's tough because the Rangers haven't won 3 in a row since like November. They got 2 in a row right now.
Listen,
They
guacamole.
got some adversity.
Guacamole, moly.
They got some adversity with the injuries. I'm going to say they beat Toronto. They get the 3 in a row. They lose to Nashville and they beat the Islanders.
That's
I'm going to go a little Ed.
100%. That's what's going to happen.
Who is their 6th defenseman right now?
Well, you mean their 8th defenseman?
Yeah,
Robertson.
Yeah, they
They
just
have
called
Zach-
up Robertson.
Zach Jones and Matthew Robertson called up. Yeah.
They really didn't update Keandre today, and we probably should just touch on that. Like, yeah, Fox, who knows? They said, anyone else find it weird when they do the Rangers just don't announce injuries? like the team doesn't announce it.
Yeah.
They just tweet out or they text a mass text all the writers and they all say, source says, so whatever the Rangers PR told them. It's really weird to me. I don't know. No other team does that.
Being evaluated.
Right. Oh yeah, they're so tight-lipped, and it's a jury. I think that's just a jury thing. They just want everything, their message constantly. I just find it odd. But
all right, PJ, stop delaying your picks here.
Just because Adam Fox got hurt, and you're all worried.
It was such a downer because they were such a good win, and then it's gonna hurt here for a bit. I hate predicting losses, but I'm like with Coach. I think Toronto is going to be really tough. I want to be wrong there, and then I think they'll beat Nashville. It looks like they might not have Yossi. I just think they'll win that game whether they want to or not. It'll just be an easier game, hopefully. And then lastly, I think they'll beat the Islanders. I think hopefully that game yesterday kind of crushed the Islanders' spirits a bit. So I'm going loss and win.
So you went with Coach, and I went with Little Ed. Let's see where we stand. I'm gonna just, I'm gonna ride who's winning. I'm just gonna piggyback their picks for now until and Little Ed's in first. So
that's a sound strategy. But you are right. And part of me was like, they are due to finally win 3 in a row. You would think odds are they've got to win 3 in a row at some point. It's pretty crazy.
Seriously. All right. Well, good episode, boys. We'll be back. I guess next Tuesday, right? Because you're going to be at the Islander game, so we'll try and drop it on Tuesday. We'll update you guys online when we figure out when we're going to drop that episode, Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll try and keep it earlier in the week with our regular schedule. We'll keep you guys updated. Enjoy the games this weekend.
I think I could tease this for our loyal listeners. We have EJ Raddick coming up for another appearance, so just trying to get a date for him. So
that'll be fun.
A little reward for our loyal listeners. We have EJ coming back on the show soon.
Yep. It'll be a trade deadline preview because trade deadline's next Friday already, boys.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, we'll see what happens. And, if any moves get made, we'll chime in on our thoughts on that as well.
Oh, my God. Now that we got PJ on board, the text messages around trade deadline are going to be freaking. I might drive on the Robin Moses Bridge and throw my phone off.
Yeah, Coach, don't touch the chat. I want to see how many texts you get by the end of the day.
It's going to be Coach Ed. Coach Ed leaves the chat, and then he'll get added back in after. That's what's going to end up happening. It's going to leave.
I'll just text Coach Ed privately all the messages so he doesn't miss them.
No. I want to see how many it is.
All right, guys. Great episode. Catch you guys next week.
Have a good night, boys. Love you guys. Let's do it. Let's come back.
Let's go Rangers. Go Wolves.